What do you feel is the hardest part about
You know, the hardest part of making a documentary about parenting
this right here? Hi.
is the required parenting.
Sebastian, we're right in the middle of something, my friend.
In our industry, you felt like you didn't have that outlet to talk to somebody because you didn't have insurance, to pay for a counselor or a therapist per se. Sometimes you put yourself aside and you want them to be as healthy as possible mentally. Getting home late and sleeping till 1, 2 is ideal, but it was not ideal when you have kids that you got to get up in the morning and fix breakfast for, and make sure they get to school.
In general, just time is a struggle.
Yeah.
And balancing it is definitely a struggle. There's never enough time in the day. The nature of our business is very much a lot of travel, a lot of events, which can bleed into the night or weekends. It also really tends to be very much a heavy focus from the 4 to 7 o'clock period, I should say, for emails, late night meetings, that sort of thing, and that's a really special time at home because from about 5 to 8 o'clock is the only time that I really get to spend time with Capri.
Yeah.
And it always seems very torn because of, work and balancing, getting that time together as a family.
It is a hard thing, and especially in our industry where we have like crazy hours, because our hours are not regular.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're gonna work in the morning, sometimes you're working at night, sometimes you're gonna work like late at night. So every day is always different.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a challenge, but it's not impossible.
There are so many things about working in the bar business that are not conducive to young children. I mean, as bar owners, we don't have maternity leave, and there was so much that we didn't have that a lot of other people do in other industries. My wife was actually expediting brunch at Clover Club the day before she went to the hospital. We started so late because we felt like we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Other countries are so much more supportive of people who want to have a family, and giving them that time to bond with their baby and make it work with social programs. And sadly in the US we are lacking a lot of that.
I think that the hardest part of being a parent in the industry is lack of accessibility. It's the lack of acceptance and the lack of tools and structure in place to support parents that work within the industry. I think that the infrastructure itself is not built to accommodate parents, driving a lot of people to move out of this industry once they become parents, and having people go through an immense amounts of situational resilience to become parents and thrive within the industry.
Another thing that was really difficult for me was breastfeeding when I was a young mom. And I was bartending like 80 hours a week, and all we had was like that gross restaurant office where the manager, you know what I mean? Like there was no place for me to go to pump, to breastfeed.
Breastfeeding and pumping while working in a tiny bar.
Yep.
I'm lucky in comparison to a lot of bartenders, I would say, in terms of my schedule. Like the bar I work at has to close by midnight. So at least we're not a 2 or 4 a.m. bar, but that still means you have to go pump 1 or 2 times in a shift. So if I need to find a place to go pump, it's like sometimes Sam would drive in and bring Kimiko and I'd breastfeed her in the car for 15 minutes. And other times I just have to go stand in the bathroom in a closed stall. If I were in a position that would have allowed me to breastfeed more regularly or pump more regularly, I could have gone longer.
It's unfortunate that we don't have that structure right now of in the industry of support for single moms or single dads per se, because there are some single dads in the industry, but more so single moms, that we don't have support for daycare.
The hardest part right now, I would say, is time management. Because you have different hours that you're supposed to be at work. It's late night, and the children need a daycare. A lot of people are not available at those hours. So you're like, okay, how do I manage this,
And you're dealing with twins, so double trouble.
Yes, double trouble, laundry, double trouble, everything. So I'm multitasking. The good thing is I have experience with multitasking. So to me, it's like it looks easy, but it's like just because I'm used to doing so many things at once.
Yeah.
And I can thank the industry for that. Work needs us, the children need us. We're doing everything we can to be professional as well as be amazing parents.
I think a lot of parents right now, or in the last couple of years, have had a really hard time finding childcare. So we were looking for childcare, yeah, and that took a long time. But even if you do find it, then not most of them have nighttime childcare. How many places can you find where you can drop your kid off and have them watch through till 2 a.m.?
Right.
Like, I know a few people who have a night nanny, but they're incredibly expensive. So at all times, one parent has to be watching them at night, or someone else in your community, someone else in your safety net. And even once we got childcare, that's when, you know, every other week the kid gets sick for a while because it's their first time interacting with germs, and paid time off and sick leave aren't necessarily the same thing in our industry as a lot of industries.
So any kind of help the government could do for the hospitality worker would be like really welcome.
Yeah.
But I would say like taking some time off our shoulder in terms of like daycare, because again, like even like when I put my daughter from like 8 to 2, I cannot do anything. So if they could actually like, you know, like taking care of like the longer hours from like 2 to 5 paid by the government, because like we understand you're working in hospitality. I mean, any type of like help would be, because as of now there's zero help. So even the bare minimum would be more than we have now.
So I leave home super early, I take the kids to school, then again they go to bed 7 p.m. It's kind of like the schedule that we have for them, and then by the time I get home, unless it's, you know, it's an easy day that I delegate you know, different duties to all the bartenders and bar managers, then I can go home before that, and you know, I can put them to bed and, you know, have a, what do you call it, the normal life, you know.
Quality time.
Yeah, quality time, yeah.
Finding quality time is tough.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be a choice of either working in the bar business or having a family. We should be able to do both.
Yeah.
And we should support people who want that. And many people in our industry don't want that, and that's fine too. But it shouldn't be, you know, like you're looked down upon for wanting to have a family, or not supported. Like, let's support people and figure out a way for it to happen. The hospitality industry is a challenging place for parents.